Hello everybody, welcome to R&B Reviews. I'm Rob, and once again I am joined by Darren.
Greetings!
Now if you're just catching up, we saw Black Widow and we decided to do two videos. We did a spoiler-free version, and we're now doing a spoiler version. So I don't know if you have seen the other video, but if you don't want to hear spoilers, do not watch this video.
Yep.
But basically we're going to go into details about Black Widow. But basically, if you didn't watch the other video, I tried my best not to look at, oh, Gigi, you cute doggy, you cute doggy. Yeah, I tried not to watch or read anything beforehand, but unfortunately I saw a couple Facebook posts and I was like, no, I don't want to watch that. Yeah, so I kind of walked in there blind except for seeing a few trailers, and Darren, I know you really wanted to see this movie for so long.
And again, I was disappointed by it. I mean, it did have a lot of heart, like I said, and I just wanted just something darker for Natasha's story. Mm-hmm. Now, the really interesting part is a lot of this happened not like back when Jack Kirby and Stan Lee and John Buscema created Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow. A lot of this wasn't in place. The Red Room came after, which is the organization that made the Black Widow. Mm-hmm. And I mean, just the horrible stuff that she went through. Yeah. We got a little bit of that. Now, I want to say maybe if Sony was behind this movie, we would have got a little bit darker. I mean, I'm also forgetting that, Disney, Disney doesn't do that.
Yeah, I really like the beginning because they're getting pulled from their mission. The kids are like, what the hell is going on? Right. And it turns out it was kind of like a lie. Alexi and Rachel Weisz's character were on a mission for Russia, and I love the shots where the kids are, well, at least Natasha as a kid is looking out the window and she's seeing the town that she's been living in for so long, and the expressions on her face of kind of saying goodbye. And then we turn out that they were part of a Russian cell that's run by Dracula, who is in charge of the Red Room Project, and he's the main villain, not Taskmaster, and he's played by Ray Winston.
Yeah, okay, so big spoiler here. I really wasn't happy with the design of Taskmaster because he's just such a boastful villain. He actually looks in the comic books like Skeletor, like from He-Man.
He looked a little bit like Dr. Doom, at least the picture you showed me.
Yeah, a little bit like Dr. Doom. I was expecting a little bit more from him, but it wasn't a him. It was a her.
Yeah, and a big spoiler.
Yeah, Antonia Dreykov is basically General Dreykov's daughter.
I thought it was a robot because there's a scene in the beginning where one of Dreykov's women, puts something in the back, and I thought, okay, maybe it's a robot. Nope, not a robot.
Right. Again, back then when Taskmaster was created by the greats, they didn't have the whole microchip technology as we have now, so they weren't even thinking that far of things. Yeah. Although we did get Iron Man with all these suits and everything, which really brings up a really interesting thing was David Harbour's character, the Red Guardian. Yeah. And I vaguely remember the old comic books with Red Guardian in it. He was actually underneath another name. I watched Marvel Action Hour, way back when, in 1992, and he the first appearance of basically the Red Guardian, he was under the name Crimson Dynamo in the cartoon, and that's what I remember is him being a villain. And I later find out that he is Russia's super soldier. I'm even in the beginning of the movie, I'm thinking whoa, he just lifted that tank. And I'm just what's going on with this character? How come I really never heard of him? And he later says that he's adversary to Captain America, and that's basically Russia's Captain America. Yeah. But which is really interesting is Crimson Dynamo there was many in the comic book, and basically they were Russia's Iron Man. So it was really neat, just the American and Russian take on just these set of characters, which are referred to as one character, and that is the Red Guardians or Guardian. So
yeah. I liked him, but I found him to be inconsistent because, well, for one thing,
Really?
yeah, I loved that, he brought dark humor, and he's talking about how he thought he was an important figure in Russia, and Dreykov threw him, under the bus and stuff. But in the beginning, he didn't struck me that he wasn't a comical character. I thought he was very serious. He was almost like a caring father, and he's like, we got to get moving and stuff. And then later, I felt like he went from being this serious person to almost a darkly comical character. I mean, it felt like two different portrayals to me. So I mean, like I said, there's nothing wrong with having a comical character, especially when you're dealing with a group of characters like these four, like Natasha and the sister and the so-called mother. But I mean, I felt like, I'm like, this is the same character. This is, he was different in the beginning.
Well, I think that's just a sign of a really great actor for you.
Yeah.
Like how he could switch just a different mentality.
Yeah, but I mean, you can also be consistent, like, not making it like two separate characters, like, I mean, I know he's supposed to be kind of washed up, but I'm like, he's like, to me, he wasn't the same character, but
yeah.
I love the sisters. I love, the snarky dialogue between them. I also like the scene where after they kind of make up, they're sitting and they're having a beer and they're talking about, what they would have liked if they hadn't gone through this program, like having a family, and Florence Pugh as the sister.
Oh, she's amazing.
She's amazing. And I loved, they're saying, I imagine, I tell, I can create this story where you're a science teacher and I have kids and everything.
Yeah.
But one of the issues I did have with this movie, there's some subject matter that I don't think is really appropriate for kids. Like, there's a scene where they take the dad out of prison, and he asks, why they're pissed off. He says, "Are you guys on your periods?" And then they talk about how they had all their insights taken out. I'm like, okay, that's a little too much. I don't think.
Yeah, that was a little too much. But I think that's kind of like the edge of the darkness. All that Disney could put into it, and then there was like that whole thing with him coming home and like he's like, I got so much energy. Obviously, he wants sex.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, other than that, like we said before, the heart is there, and I guess the heart of darkness is also there in little increments.
Yeah.
Which really works brilliantly because you're trying to tell a dark story but not be too dark. So I'm thinking that was really brilliant of Disney and Kevin Feige to do that.
I want to talk about Dreykov now.
Okay.
Now, I saw somebody say that this movie is woke. I don't quite agree with that. I think the movie. I mean, I think I know where they're coming from, but I think the theme of this movie is. Well, one of the themes is, control and regrets, praying, and also with Dreykov, I kind of picked up a little bit on abuse and predatory because the character is kind of overweight and he's talking about being in the shadow. So I kind of took that almost like what we've been seeing with Harvey Weinstein and even some sex trafficking. I mean, what's basically Dreykov is training these women to do his bidding and be in control. I mean, granted, he's not shown really sexually abusing or being a predator, but that was kind of like what I picked up on, and I'm wondering if that's what they're talking about.
Especially in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, these soldiers, the widows of the Red Room, is Dreykov's like whole organization. Yeah.
I think the closest we get is the confrontation between Scarlett Johansson and him, where he's I guess wearing a perfume that causes women to not fight, and he's slapping her across the room and stuff, and she has to break her nose in order to beat the crap out of him.
That was quite a dramatic scene there.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a memorable villain. He's not my favorite villain, but I thought it was interesting. I like that I picked up on all that stuff.
he's so like normalized.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I wouldn't even suspect him to be a villain, but he is.
He is a villain.
He is a villain.
He's not a
at the heart of
cartoon
the
villain.
story,
He's not
so.
a cartoon over the top villain, but
Yeah.
he is a villain.
Yeah.
And I thought the action scenes were very well done, very impressive.
Yeah.
And I loved how some of them the camera kind of moves along with the action scenes. And
Okay, so basically, Yelena Belova in the comics, she was depicted as the clone of a Black Widow, and even like in the cartoons, I didn't expect her to be Natasha's little sister. But I mean, obviously, we find more about Natasha's story,
Yeah.
where she thought like her mother gave her up, and that actually wasn't the case.
and they're not real sisters
Right,
too. They grew
right.
up, they thought they were until they realized it was all
Right,
a lie.
like the Avengers, basically Red Guardian and Melina and Yelena are basically Black Widow's
So-called family.
Yeah, second family,
yeah.
because she never really knew her mother, like very seldomly, and we understand that Dreykov killed her, and but she always thought like, oh, you know, she was an orphan, like her mother gave her up, and that wasn't the case, which
No.
was a refreshing take on it, because you start to feel a little bit better about this, and I know Natasha does herself. We see Scarlett Johansson really depict that perfectly, but yeah, Yelena Belova, I mean, Florence Pugh as her, I mean, she's just an amazing character, and she actually I think actually had her own comic book series too, but she's definitely up to take on the mantle as the Black Widow now.
Yeah.
If they do make a movie of the Avengers again, because right now all that we're getting on Disney Plus is just back stories and just their own series on the small screen. Although we know that Scarlet Witch will be unleashed into the MCU as her true Scarlet Witch in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that, and they could probably do something with that too.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that end credits scene, which she plays an important key role in everything that's what Marvel is deciding to do. But I really love Florence Pugh. I gotta give her so much props for just like her comedic talent. Just the way like she really portrayed like a true Russian, you know, girl.
Yeah.
And I love the whole thing with the vest. That's why I decided to. That's why I'm happy that I decided to wear this, because it doesn't have as many pockets. Because she makes a joke in the film, you know, about the pockets, and Natasha's like envious of that vest, and she actually ends up getting it. So that's really cool. But I'm gonna take it off because it's really hot. So it's just the characters are just very well depicted, and the story's great. But like I said, I wish for something darker. So let's get to that end credits scene, because this is what drives it home. In fact, it made my disappointments in the movie kind of lessen when I saw this end credits scene. And an end credits scene never has really done that for me in a Marvel movie before. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
So there is an end credits scene, and if you've seen the movie and you didn't stay for the credits, you're probably gonna hear spoilers.
Yes.
Because I actually, one of my friends posted on Facebook that people had walked out during the credits of like, hey, don't remember their stuff. And
big mistake.
There was a handful
Big
of people
mistake.
left, but most people in our screening room stayed. But basically, I'll let you do the surprise with the end credits. What went on?
Okay, well, basically, after the credits roll, we were given this scene where Yelena Belova is at her sister's grave, Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow, and she's just really just heartbroken by the loss of her so-called sister. And then we get a very surprise appearance of Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah.
Now, if you haven't been following Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I highly recommend that you actually see that Disney Plus, because you're not going to know what's gonna go on. So definitely check out the Disney Plus Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Because it really brought everything into context here.
Yeah.
Okay, so Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character in the comics is called Madam Hydra, and she is the leader of Hydra, like next to the Red Skull, and then you got the AIM agents and everything that follows within that is our Marvel fanboys we see in video games, these guys in yellow suits and all that. I don't know if they'll do anything with AIM. I really hope that they do. But Hydra is kind of like the start of it all. And Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., when it was on TV, I mean, obviously there wasn't no Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Madam Hydra, but her name is Valentina. And towards the end of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we actually see her in full-fledged form. And you will see her in full-fledged form even more in this credits scene.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I mean, when I saw her in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I felt like she was kind of, and this is some of the problems I've had with some of the Marvel and even the DC movies. I felt like she was kind of shoehorned in. And I was like, "What? Who is this person? What's going on?" And basically, she in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, she kind of turns the new Captain America.
Wyatt Russell.
Yeah.
Which in my opinion, I mean, we didn't do like any review on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He's a U.S. agent, and I mean, just watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I just didn't like him from the get-go. I mean, I thought like he was really trying. He was impersonating like Captain America in the worst way possible.
Yeah, I liked him at first because he was humble, but once he put on that costume, I felt like he got egotistical. And then when
he was arrogant.
And then later, when he's on trial, she comes in to kind of, and then even the character's wife is like, "Who is this woman? You can't be listening to her." And he listens to her, and he kind of gets brainwashed. And here it looks like she kind of brainwashed Florence Pugh's character, Yelena. Yeah. So I'm imagining in an upcoming film, I don't know if it's going to be Doctor Strange or Thor 4 or Guardians Volume 3.
Yeah.
I think she's turning these characters against these Avengers characters, and there's going to be like another fight up coming up. I don't know which film it's going to be in, though. Yeah. Because I don't see any. I mean, last time I checked, there's no new Avengers. There's no Avengers 5. I know that there's Doctor Strange, where a lot of stuff's supposed to come back, and I know they're kind of meshing Guardians and Thor with Thor Love and what is it?
Love and Thunder. Love and Thunder.
Yeah, so I don't know which
Natalie
one
Portman will be back.
Yeah,
as Jane.
But I was like, I could definitely feel like the intensity in the room where everyone's like, "Oh, wow."
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, getting back to the credits scene, she sympathizes with Yelena, and just she's like, "Oh, she did like so much," and then she's like, "Oh, but I got a new job for you." So Yelena, I mean, years later, she already has joined with Hydra, which is Avengers' like main villain. So what I thought was going to happen was her to take on the Black Widow mantle, but you can't do that with the bad guy, so she's going to have to turn faces here. But hey, it happened for Bucky, Winter Soldier. I mean, he's now a good guy, and we were introduced to him.
Yeah, and then she shows Yelena a picture of the person she says killed was responsible, and that's Hawkeye. So she's going to program her to kill Hawkeye, and I guess the Captain America is going to be going up against Bucky, and the former Falcon, he's now Captain America.
Right. So. Right. And I guess in the comic books, I mean, from what I saw, like Yelena Belova, she does play a villain, and even in the cartoon, then Black Widow face off against her, and I guess she is of Hydra now. So, but the Clint Barton, the Target thing, oh my gosh, that just brought it, just everything, into context, and I just I just loved the end credits scene. Like, I was so excited.
Yeah.
But definitely if you aren't watching Disney Plus, you know, features, Loki right now is brilliant. And the last episode premieres Wednesday. It's gonna be so cool, and I really want to do a Loki series. But I mean, all these things are just coming up, and you know, you don't have the time. I don't have the time at times. But I'm really looking forward to, after Loki premieres, Hawkeye, which I thought was gonna really link up to everything, and it kind of does. Black Widow kind of links up Hawkeye with Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. He's going to basically mentor her, and that's going to spill into the Young Avengers with Scarlet Witch twins, Billy and Tommy, and Ant-Man's daughter, Stature. Black Widow overall is an enjoyable film. It's just not what I expected it to be.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you're looking for something on the small screen, I definitely would say that Black Widow would be an ideal movie to watch. I wouldn't pay full price for the theaters.
Yeah, usually with a Marvel movie, you have to see them on the big screen. There's only a handful of exceptions, like the Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I would argue Iron Man 2. But yeah, I give it 4 stars. I think it's a very good character-driven movie. I like that they did different things with the lighting and everything, and I like that it's darker. But yeah, I give it 4 stars. I think it's good, and yeah, I kind of agree with you. I feel like you don't have to see this in the theaters, unlike the other Marvel movies where they're big spectacles. This one's character-driven. I would say you could catch this one at home if need be.
Right, and like I said before, like we're both saying, it's very heartfelt, but in the Avengers, like, everything was teased, like, Natasha has, like, so much red in her ledger. Personally, I didn't see it. It was touched on, but I didn't see her doing, like, so much bad things to where, you know, I actually get, like, the full story behind everything. Because, I mean, we didn't even see Hawkeye. There was that scene in there that, you know, touched on, you know, like, oh, those, like, Yelena, like, says to her, what are these marks from? And she's like, oh, those are arrows. So obviously, like, Hawkeye and Black Widow had a face-off there, and we didn't see that in the movie, which was kind of disappointing for me. But again, 3.5 stars. I'm not changing my rating.
Well, I'm not either. And like I said, usually when we review a movie, you end up liking it more than me, and this time it's almost the other way around.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah. All right, well, anyway, that's our spoiler review. If you want to watch the non-spoiler one, you know, it's on the main page. And if you're interested, you know, check out some other movie reviews of movies that are currently in the theaters or something you can watch at home. If you have seen Black Widow, please put your comments in the comment box below. Let us know what you thought of it, and feel free to like the video, hit the subscribe button. And Darren, thank you again for doing this video. I appreciate it.
No problem, Rob. And thanks for having me. And we'll see you in our next review adventure.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, take care,
From
everybody.
Russia with love.
No.
До свидания.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.